Hey, what's up, everyone? It's James and Ben here. Thank you so much for joining us. And today we're going to be talking about episode 4 of the new Disney Plus series, Andor.
This episode is titled Aldani, and we're going to tell you guys what we liked, what we didn't like, go into maybe some Easter eggs, familiar faces. So join us, guys. Grab yourselves a drink, grab yourselves a chair. Let's talk about it. Cheers.
This might be my favorite episode of all 4 that we've seen so far. I mean, I'm sure that's going to be replaced, once the action picks up and the stakes get higher.
Yeah.
But so far, I feel like the pacing was fixed, or at least because we already got past the whole upbringing of Andor and his backstory and the inciting incident. It's kind of picking up a little bit of a pace, and I like that. First, let's talk about the production, because I really love all the environments, and they feel so real and so different. There's a lot of contrast in this one between the planets where the rebels are in.
And their state of
where they're living.
Together.
Yeah. They go to planet Aldani, which basically it's like planet Peru to me. It looks like Peru, Machu Picchu.
Something different, though. And it's got like that Southern American
like
kind of vibe.
South American. And these rebels are really down in the dirt. They're basically bushcrafters. They're living on primitive shelters. They're eating like MREs around a campfire. They talk about digging roots. They're like just down in the dirt. And then you see the contrast with, you go to Coruscant and the Imperials, crisp, clean uniforms and stark white buildings. And also Luthen, the character Luthen.
Yeah, we gotta take a moment to talk about Stellan Skarsgård, more like Stellar Skarsgård.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's amazing. He steals every scene he's in. Such a great character, so detailed, and his dialogue is so great. More of him, please, in everything. I hope he doesn't die in this show.
He steals the show easily. I mean, especially in this one, because you see more of him in terms of how much he has to play these different roles. He's this guy recruiting these ragamuffins dudes like Andor in the middle of nowhere planet, and then the next day he's got to pretend to be Fraser Crane in Coruscant dealing antiques, and he's got a little wig, and that's what he reminded me of. He reminded me of Fraser Crane, like how he talks about like things he loves and art. And
what do you think of what I've done with the place, huh? Every item here was carefully selected. This lamp by Corbeau, the chair by Eames, and this couch is an exact replica of the one Coco Chanel had in her Paris atelier. Not the matches.
But in that scene that you're talking about, we get Mon Mothma, which is a really cool tie-in to the rest of Star Wars, and but it makes sense. It's not just a throw-in, just like the antiques that you saw. That antique is like what was it again? The race,
the Utapauans.
It's an Utapauan.
Yeah,
it's in the lore. But it's not like a lightsaber. They're not like, hey, look, this is Obi-Wan's lightsaber. This is a lightsaber from a famous Jedi from back in the day.
And they're not distracting Easter eggs. They're just kind of like little references, like interesting.
It's subtle. It's subtle fan service, which I'm a very big fan of. I mean, I'm a big fan of fan service all around, but the way they're doing it to make it not distracting, like you said, is grade A. Like, it's really well done. But we get Mon Mothma, but like I said, she's not just thrown in there just for fan service. It makes sense. She's the senator who's trying to get this rebellion off the ground. Luthen is one of her contacts. They have to meet in private during this whole, she's trying to buy a gift for her husband or whatever. Yeah, that was a good plus for me. That whole scene in the antique shop and Luthen doing his thing, putting on his disguise, putting on his best master of disguise technique, become another poison. That's what he was doing. Yeah, but our boy finally gets a job. He gets hired to become a part of the rebellion. The rebel group in itself is a really good plus. They all feel well thought out, well detailed. Even down to the little boy who made the model of the little armory that they're going to break into where the planning is going on. He's like, wait, no, this isn't to scale. Hold on. Let me just, like, his little like inferences of like how much time and effort he put into this model is such a good detail.
The rebels have an issue with Andor getting there, and it's because they don't know him. They don't trust him yet. So trust is a big part with the rebels. I wouldn't say they're quite rebels yet, but resistance fighters or whatever.
As opposed to the Empire, who's all about achievements and how good you look on paper.
Yeah, and one-upping each other. There's no loyalty. Oh, one last thing in likes that I almost forgot is at the beginning when Luthen and Andor are in the ship.
Yeah.
Fucking Andor has a boot knife.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he has a boot knife, and then he shaves with it later. But he's like cutting bandages in his wound. And I was like, boot knife? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Boot knife?
Look at that. Make boot knives great again. Sorry, I'm probably like stinking up your room right now.
All right, guys. So now we're gonna go ahead and get into some of our dislikes. I'm happy to say that this show is continuing a nice trend that I don't have a lot of dislikes with this episode. I have like 2 that I can think of. One, it being as long as the episode as it is, 45 minutes. I really was expecting some setup and payoff. When they started talking about the robbery, I was like, all right, cool. We're going to get into the robbery this episode. We're going to see what happens. Then we're going to go on from there. But no, it is all set up. But it's because we needed to get a lot of setup. We needed to get both the Empires and the Rebellion side. So in the end, it's fine. I don't really care. I didn't care that much. But I did, it can't be a perfect 10 for me. It can't be its own standalone episode and be a complete 10 if it doesn't have like some action or like some payoff from the setup. So it is just a setup episode. That's not really a bad thing, but I just, like I said, if I was to make this one episode that I was going to watch and enjoy it full to end, I would be like, okay, well, that's just setup. I didn't get any payoff. So I guess that's one knock against it. And the other was seeing AK-47s.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how they got them. I don't know how they found me, but they found me, Marty. Just kidding. No, I don't know how they found these AK-47s, but these dudes got straight up AK-47s. They look a little more techie, but they are definitely AK-47s. They cannot be mistaken for any other kind of gun. So that was odd to see. Like, why couldn't it just have been something else? It did take me out of it. As soon as I saw it, I just... Hey! That's an Earth gun! Where'd they get that from? That's it. That's literally it for me. I really don't have anything bad to say about this episode, besides the fact that it was just build up and that there's AK-47s in it. But you know what? In the end, do I mind that much that it's an AK? No. I don't really care that much. Did it like take me out of it for a second and I was like, that's an Earth gun? Yes. So I have to like nitpick it on that. But literally, that's it. I gotta say.
Yeah.
Oh, and no bigs. No bigs, AK-47s.
Bring her back. I can't say I have any dislikes, honestly. One thing I did find a little goofy, and it's a nitpick. I mean, this is not even a negative, but Andor, Luthen tells Cassian, like, hey, pick a name for yourself. Don't give your real name to this group. And he's like, Clem.
Yes.
And I just think that's a weird name. It reminds me of Clam and Phlegm. Neither things are like something I want to be named, so I thought that was I think Clem's a ugly name.
Clementine. It reminds me of Clementine. I was like, okay, you're gonna be Clementine? Okay.
Let's go ahead and talk about like our ratings. What would you rate it?
9 out of 10. Easy.
Yeah.
Just the fact that there's no action in it, you can't give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So 9 out of 10. It was a great. It's leading up, and I'm just loving all the detail and well-written scenes and dialogue. Very grounded, very realistic. Like, you can't beat it. It's just good writing. You can't beat good writing. 9 out of 10. Easy.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to go with you on that one, too. It can't be a 10 out of 10 because it's not like this big payoff that, like, But, I mean, I'm loving seeing all the different chapters. A day in the life of Mon Mothma, who's feeling pressured because she has sympathies for the rebellion. Yeah. A day in the life of Luthen. And who knows what else this guy's doing that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Playing different identities. A day in the life of these rebels living, eating roots and, warming up by a campfire.
Building little models for their attack.
Yeah, with
incoming
wigs.
Attack.
I think all that is just wonderful.
All right, guys, before we wrap this up, I'm just going to do a little bonus segment here. I'm going to call this Ben's Familiar Faces bonus segment. So we got some familiar faces that I've seen in other projects other than Star Wars. First off, we have Mon Mothma, who has been in Star Wars. She was in Rogue One, you said, and in
Revenge of the Sith.
But
I think her scene was cut out.
Oh, okay.
She's in a deleted scene, but it's the same actress.
Well, she's returning, so she's a familiar face. We get that little kid that we were talking about, the younger member of the Rebellion Squad is a character or an actor from Black Mirror, who I've seen. I know he's in other stuff, but I remember seeing him in Black Mirror. Really good actor. It was cool seeing him again in this character. He kind of disappears into that character. So that was really neat to see. We get Skeen, his name is Skeen. He's one of the members of the Rebellion as well. He is most recently seen in The Bear, which is an awesome show that's on Hulu right now. So good. If you haven't seen The Bear, go check it out. It's just an awesome show about a chef, a top tier chef trying to make a bottom tier restaurant work, and it's great. So it's cool seeing that guy again, that actor. He did a really good job, and I can tell I'm going to like him already. if he doesn't get killed off in the next episode. And then we get the Empire guy. The main Empire guy, the lead Empire guy we get in this episode is from Game of Thrones. He plays one of the maesters who kind of makes a Frankenstein monster in Game of Thrones. If you've seen Game of Thrones, you know what I'm talking about. But he's a good actor. He was fun to see in that. He was all weird and creepy in that show. And he's kind of weird and creepy in this one too. But he's got power, and you can feel that. But he knows what he's talking about. He treats his subordinates with respect, but he treats them sternly, and he seems like a cool character. I really like his role as this Empire FBI guy. Really cool. So those are just some familiar faces that I saw in this episode of Andor.
Mon Mothma's husband, who seems like he just wants to be very hedonistic, very party boy, very enjoying, while Mon Mothma's very stressed about the state of the galaxy and the Empire, he invited Sly Moore to his dinner party. Now, Sly Moore's that bald girl. She was like an assistant to Palpatine in the prequels. She's like this pale blue eyes girl.
I don't remember. But what a great name.
Yeah, she's Sly. And more than that.
So we might get that dinner party, and then we might get the rebels, like the rehearsal, and then we might get the Imperials cracking down a little bit more, and then the next episode will be the heist. That's kind of my prediction right now.
Me too. But I would look forward to a really well-written scene around a dinner table. They're serving dessert and all this, and they're having conversations, but they're very veiled threats to each other about, like, you know,
it's very Breaking Bad, you better tread lightly kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
It's exciting. Love
you
it.
know.
Alright guys, well thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this video, guys. It helps out so much. It's completely free. It takes 2 seconds and it helps us out. Make sure to subscribe if you guys haven't subscribed. We're just two guys talking about things that we love, a bunch of nerdy stuff.
We're going to push for 1,000 subscribers by the end of Andor, so please help us reach that goal.
That would be incredible, guys.
Yeah, that would be cool. So as always, thank you all for joining us, and can't wait to join you guys again once more for Andor Episode 5.
Next week, we'll see you then.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.